Hello and welcome everyone to the virtual public board meeting for Brentwood-Darlington Neighborhood Association, June 3rd, 2021. You can access this slideshow with the links at the link shown there on the screen, and Maria will add it in the chat. Thank you to Maria for putting all of our links in the chat tonight. As you all may know or not know, we're on virtual meetings like everybody else, and we'll continue to do so. Links for where to find this and subscribing to our e-newsletter in the chat. If you're unfamiliar with Zoom, your controls may look somewhat different as they change it all the time, but be aware of mute, stopping your video, the participants, the chat, and the reactions. This is how it may look on your computer. And this is how it may look on your smartphone. Might be a little different, but at least you know what you're looking for. And if you're calling in today, remember to mute with *6 and to raise your hand with *9. Today we have a few things on the agenda, and then we'll have kind of a catch-all at the end of the meeting for all those other little things. So we'll get going unless there's any questions. All right. We like to start with a welcome, keep it brief, and I'll go ahead and go first. I'm Chelsea Powers. I'm the current chair of the BDNA right now. She, her pronouns, not my first meeting, and I've been in the neighborhood about 6 years now. First heard about BDNA through a national night out event. I'll go ahead and call down the roll as I see. Derek, you're next.
Okay, my name is Derek Covey. He, him are my pronouns, not my first meeting. I've been in the neighborhood since 2012. And I think I just heard about, I don't know, I looked for the neighborhood association since I was a part of the one where I left, where I used to live in the Richmond neighborhood. And that's it.
Thanks, Derek. Stephanie, you're next on my list.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Frederick. I'm the chair of the Land Use Committee. She, her, not my first meeting. I've been here since 2017. I tracked down BDNA because I wanted to be in a neighborhood association. I learned about the system before I moved here. And that's all.
Thanks, Stephanie. Linda Goldzer, you're next.
Linda Goldser, she, her pronouns. This is not my first meeting. I am the director of the demonstration garden, Master Gardener demonstration garden south of Duke. And we're just hoping to use Brentwood-Darlington as our a way to get the word out about our garden.
Thanks, Linda. Laura Lee, you're next.
Hi, I'm Laura Lee Cole. I am the current secretary. She, her pronouns. I have lived in Brentwood-Darlington for 8 years now, and I learned about BDNA from walking by the community center.
Thank you, Laura Lee. Next up, Kimberly Deleo.
Hi, my name is Kim, pronouns she, her. This is about my 4th meeting. I've lived in Brentwood-Darlington for 6 years. I found the BDNA through Facebook. I sought out BDNA to volunteer and to participate. And that's it.
Thanks, Kim. Maria, you're next.
Hi, my name is Maria. My pronouns are she, her. This is not my first meeting, and I have lived in the neighborhood for almost 4 years now. I first heard about BDNA when I took my kids to the egg drop in the Brentwood Park, that helicopter egg drop thingy. And I'm also part of the Land Use Committee.
Thanks, Maria. Gail, you're next up. Can you introduce yourself, please? We lost you for Gail. Are you there?
And
you just muted and took off your camera. You're unmuted. Whoop. We'll give Gail a minute to sort her camera. So Eli, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everybody. My name's Eli, he, him pronouns. I work for State Representative Jeff Reardon, so I like to come and put faces to names. Not my first meeting, and it's wonderful to see you all.
Thanks, Eli. Gail, when you get your camera working, just turn it on and I'll see you, all right? In the meantime, Lynn, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everybody. I'm Lynn, preferred pronouns she, her. It's not my first meeting. I've been on the board for 3 years now, I believe, as the current treasurer. I've lived in the neighborhood since 1993, and I've heard about the BDNA from a Facebook post a few years ago.
Thanks, Lynn. Gail, do you think you got it? All right, well, Gail, if you get your camera working, you can just pop in and introduce yourself. We'll go ahead and move along. So we'll go ahead to community announcements. We always start with the Learning Gardens Lab and Green Thumb site there that features also the Black Futures Farm and Multnomah County Master Gardeners. We don't have a rep from LGL here tonight, and I forgot to take down the plant sale notification, but I will let you know that the plant sales went pretty well. BDNA was able to provide a cash service. They aren't able to take cards in any way there, so we ran the cards through our square and exchanged it for cash, and every neighbor donated at least $1 towards the fee. So that went really well. And Lynn, I'll get that cash back to you so we can add it back to the accounts. Haven't seen a representative from Black Futures Farm yet this evening, but I will tell you that when I was there for the plant sale, I got to see some of what they're doing, and they are really doing an incredible job there. They're rotating some of the crops right now, and they got some new hoop houses open and all that. So definitely when it is open again to volunteer, I recommend checking it out. And next I'll let Linda go ahead and tell us what's new at the Master Gardeners.
Well, we're also in the process of getting to the end of our spring crops and just starting in the berries are going to start to produce really soon, and then getting in our summer crop. I have really good news at our demonstration garden just south of Duke. As of last Friday, we're able to invite any gardener into the garden who wants to come and work with us. We're not yet able to open to the public at this time, but volunteers are welcome. And this is real exciting, and it's a big step towards our ultimate goal of opening the gates to everyone. So hopefully by next month, I'll have more news about that. And we're kind of thinking that maybe in September, cross our fingers that we might have our Harvest Fest at our garden like we have in the past.
That would be very exciting.
Yes.
All right. We look forward to hearing more about opening. I haven't seen Mary yet for Leach Botanical Gardens, so I'll mention that you should definitely check out the Grapevine. That's their newsletter, and I believe that there is one of the upper gardens is reopening soon, if I remember my newsletter correctly. So check out the website in the chat, and that will let you know. The only school announcement I have is the last day of school for PPS is June 11th. Woo! As a parent, I'm very excited for that. And as drivers in the neighborhood, I'm sure you're excited to not be dodging buses in multiple areas. So be aware that there will be more kids out of buildings after June 11th. So go slow. And a reminder from this last month as well, that this weekend there's a community organized pride parade happening at Lewis Elementary in the park there. And that's through volunteers there at the school. So more information at that Facebook event. All right, are there any more community announcements? Okay. Gail, I see you are unmuted. Would you like to introduce yourself?
You hear me?
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, hi. I can see myself on the screen, but I can't see myself on your screen. This is weird. And it says your default microphone is changed and will now be used, but it's not working.
Well, we can hear you, so go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Gail. I'm not forever.
Oh, we're losing.
Forever. Hi. I'm working on video.
All right. Keep working on it, Gail, and we're going to go ahead and talk about board members. Congratulations to the board members who were elected last month. That's Stephanie Frederick, Laura Lee Cole, Lynn Reck, Derek Covey, and myself, Chelsea Powers. But I know that there are a few who wanted to miss out. And we also, or who didn't want to miss out, who would like to join the board. We also need to elect our officers, of which we have 4: chair, vice chair, treasurer, and secretary. So before we elect officers, there is a way to add board members. And these are our bylaws here, just sections added, or sections removed and added to these slides about our boundaries and membership. And you can access those at our public records online. And tonight, the sections we're going to talk about is section 4, the board vacancies. So we can have up to 21 board members. We currently have 5. And to add board members at any time, the current board can vote to add a new member to fill out the remainder of the term. Our terms go from June 1st through May 31st. So if I remember correctly, I believe Gail and Kim Deleo, correct? Both wanted to join the board this evening. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then we will do our officer elections. So board members, thank you all for coming. So we have quorum. And I will go ahead and nominate the 2 neighbors who would like to join our board, Gail and Kim. And if there are no questions or concerns, we can go ahead and vote on adding them to the board. So I will just do what I do normally, where we just take a roll and you say aye or nay. So I will say aye. And Stephanie? See, Stephanie, you're muted. Derek, do you have a vote?
Aye.
Okay, Stephanie?
Aye, yes.
Laura Lee?
Aye.
And Lynn?
Aye.
All right, board members, did I miss anybody? All right, unanimous as expected. Welcome to the board, Kim Deleo and Gail. Welcome back. We are excited to have you. Now we can do the thrilling process of electing our officers. So I will let you know that board members who are currently holding those positions, I'm currently the chair. Our vice chair did not rejoin us this year. She had other responsibilities. And our treasurer is Lynn, and our secretary is currently Laura Lee. And I understand they both would like to continue those if no one else would like it. Is that correct, Lynn and Laura Lee?
That's correct for me.
That's the same for me too.
All right. Is there anyone interested in those positions or in chair or vice chair of the board members that have joined us? All right. I am willing to continue serving as chair, and we are allowed to function without a vice chair unless somebody would like to fill that position. Okay, board members, let's take a vote on continuing the officers that are already elected, continuing on for another year, and we will fill the vice chair as needed. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes,
All
great.
right, I'll do a quick roll for our official vote. Aye, Stephanie,
Aye.
Derek,
Aye.
Laura Lee,
Aye.
Lynn,
Aye.
Kim,
Aye.
did I miss anybody? Gail. I see you in the chat say aye, but I believe you're unmuted if you want to say aye. All right, unanimous. Board members, your officers will continue. If anyone gets a wild hair and wants to be vice chair, we can decide that at a future meeting. Thank you everyone for continuing on, and welcome to our newest board members. Do we have any questions on elections before I move on? Or are we ready to be done with that for the year? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to Soak-It Week, and I'm gonna let Kim Hill and Laura Lee Cole talk about Soak-It Week.
Is Kim here?
Kim's here.
Yay, Kim. Hi, Kim. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I wish we could flip a coin. It would, it would be nice. Are you okay if I just hop right in?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to have a shout out to our our board chair, Chelsea, who has made all of these beautiful graphics for our Soak-It Week. She created a logo. She has been so amazing gathering names for folks, just doing beautiful, beautiful work. And I just want to thank her for that. I also want to thank Stephanie Fredericks for encouraging Laura Lee and I to begin this project. And we started with a simple flyer, and now in a little under a week, we have events coming. So let me hop into Soak-It Week. Soak-It Week is, I just want to say, I'm really flying on what I remember, as I am just coming from work. So please be patient with me, and I'll have a short time for questions in just a moment. Soak-It Week is distributing buckets in coordination with Trees for Life Oregon, which is a local nonprofit. And they have an event called Soak-It Week. And it is the official Soak-It Weeks are the last 2 weeks in July and August. We have partnered with them. Brentwood-Darlington Neighborhood Association has partnered with Trees for Life Oregon to hand out buckets that Trees for Life Oregon got through a city grant. We have also partnered with them to bring interns into this project. And I'm excited to announce that our new intern is Sophie, and she lives in the Brentwood-Darlington neighborhood boundaries, which is so exciting. She will be joining us for our June 12th event, and is a returning youth initiative intern. She has been doing this, I believe this is her 3rd year. So it's really exciting to have a returning and awesome intern who's ready to help us. Behind the scenes, Laura Lee and I have been working hard, and among those things is we created a job description, and I will, let's see, I don't believe that's been shared publicly, but if anyone needs it, feel free to reach out to Chelsea or myself. And yeah, have I forgotten anything, Laura Lee?
Well, you just need to thank yourself, because you volunteered to be the mentor for our interns, and that is so amazing. So thank you so much for doing that. And Kim has already picked up our first batch of buckets, and I'm going to go on Saturday and hopefully be able to fit the rest of them in my car. And Kim has also volunteered to store the buckets at her house, which is, again, thank you. But yeah, things are moving right along. It's going to be fun.
Thank you, Kim and Lauralee. We're really excited for this event. And I have to say, I got to test, I have a demo bucket at my house and they are really sharp looking. And I can't wait to try it out with my trees. If you aren't sure how to water your trees, we did make a educational video that you can view at the Soak It Week website there. And we do need to take care of a bit of board business because that intern, amazing and wonderful, is going to cost us a little bit of money, but it's great money to invest in our community. So Kim, would you remind me or Lauralee what the cost of the intern is? Because we are sharing the cost with Trees for Life, and we will have 40 hours, which will be for the Soak It Week events, as well as other board projects we're working on. And Kim, was that $600, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So board members, we need to vote on that money. Would anyone like to make a motion to spend that $600? Stephanie, do you have a question? Or would you like to make a motion?
I think I heard Gail.
Hold on. Gail, hold on. Stephanie raised her hand. Stephanie?
I move that we allocate the $600 to this effort, to our intern.
And Gail, would you like to second that motion?
I second.
Gail seconds that motion. So we have a motion to spend $600 to support our half of the intern for the Lentz Youth Initiative. And it has been seconded. We will roll through the vote unless there are any more questions or discussion. All right. My vote is aye. Derek?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Gail?
Aye.
Lauralee?
Aye.
Kimberly? Or
Aye.
Kim, sorry.
Aye.
And Lynn?
Aye.
All right, did I miss anybody? All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you, board members, for supporting a Brentwood-Darlington youth and our events. Some of those hours we're hoping to use on maybe the business association project. So we're gonna spread that effort around. All right, any other questions on Soak It Week before we move on? Okay.
Well,
Go ahead, Stephanie.
let's see, I want to help out on both days, so I'll be in touch with you, Kim and Lauralee, via email, and you can tell me when to show up and what to do. If you need I still have these 2 traffic cones if you need them, but I want to help in any way I can. So you can tell me electronically what to do.
We will. Kim and I did go to a training over in Cully Park, and it's not a massive amount of people that show up for the buckets. It is definitely nice to have extra hands, so thank you, because sometimes 3 or 4 people will show up at one time, and it's nice to have people there to talk individually to people stopping by and wanting buckets. I also wanted to mention that if any of the board members want us to set aside a couple of buckets or 5 buckets, let us know in advance before we hand them all out, because when we went to our training, they gave out 40 buckets in one day. So they do go fast sometimes. So yeah, we'd love it if you guys want to pass them out to your neighbors. And Kim, you also had a question about neighborhood group, right? What was the name of that? Next Door. Do you know if Brentwood-Darlington does Next Door at all?
We do have a Next Door account for BDNA that we can post from. So Kim, if you send me the information you want posted or how you want it posted, I'll definitely get it up for you.
Great.
Or if you like Next Door, I would happily let you admin that account.
Woohoo!
Beware what you ask for here. So awesome. looking forward to Soak It Week. If you have any more questions on that, you can ask in the chat or click on that website, and there's a lot of answers there. And the only other thing I have on that is we received that list of drought-resistant trees. Do we want to make a BDNA version of it that we can hand out to neighbors as well?
Yes.
Okay, I will make that and send it to you. All right, speaking of things I owe people to be sending them, I want to update on our multi-language brochures that we received a grant for from Southeast Uplift. I know I owe them to you, Derek, for printing.
Okay.
We got our Spanish version back, so you can see they're compared side by side. We have Spanish and we have a Vietnamese version now. And I am finishing up the inserts that will also be in multiple languages and have Soak It Week, as well as other events on it. So Derek, I will get those to you by the end of tomorrow.
Okay.
And if I don't,
Great.
bother me about it.
Okay.
I've been sharing my computer. My child's school computer died, and it's only a week and a half till school's out. So we're just making do. And my time is a little cut in half. Okay, so we are running really far ahead. Do we want to have a break? Do we want to just keep going? Keep going, thumbs up. Need a break,
keep
thumbs
going.
down.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, I see thumbs. All right, I think we're all eager to get through meetings today. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Lynn for the treasurer's report.
All right. Okay, well, the report for May, there's not a lot of stuff, just the cash that we, did for the plant sales. So we basically started off with 7,000 together, the 6,000 plus in checking plus 1,000 in savings. With the few little transactions, we were going to end up with $8,800. And then the remaining expenses for the multi-language brochure should be about $775. So we're going to end up with about $8,000. So is there any questions on the report?
I'd like to know if board members are interested in doing more grocery gift cards. We have given out all but 2 of the last set we bought. And if you would like a little note on how people receive them, which is very well. The last week's family was so grateful for them. They came back and volunteered to help set up the pantry this week. So,
Oh boy.
And they were almost moved to tears. So we're doing good. We're really helping folks out. And if we are interested in continuing to do that, we can continue distributing them. Pop-up pantry is running at least through August. We're going to take a week off then, but who knows? We'll probably keep going. So,
Well, Chelsea, do we need to allocate more funds for more cards?
yes, we would need to vote to add more funds for those cards. I believe we did $500 worth last time. Is that correct, Lynn?
I don't have that in front of me. I just have like the running total. But I mean, if you want to do 500.
Yeah, 500, that would be what, 10 cards at $50 each?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like what we did last time, and that amount seems to last a pretty good time.
I move that we allocate $500 for additional food cards, grocery cards,
Okay.
gift cards.
We have a second. All right, Gail seconds. So we have a motion to allocate $500 for 10 $50 grocery outlet gift cards, seconded by Gail. Any questions or discussion? All right, go ahead and roll through the vote. Oh, Gail?
Is there any way we can, when we hand them out, do a please pay it forward if you can type of thing?
I don't know about that, but we do give them, they come in one of your cards that you make for us.
Okay.
That has a little uplifting message, we're there for you, neighbor. And then they also receive a brochure from the neighborhood association and an invitation to volunteer.
Okay, that works.
Is that good enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I don't want to put pressure on neighbors who are just trying to have groceries. So,
Okay.
but they do actually come pay it forward a lot of times. So
That works. That's good.
All right.
That's good to know.
great. Okay, so motion on the table. We're going to go ahead and vote. My vote is aye. Kim,
Aye.
Lynn,
Aye.
Stephanie,
I,
Derek,
Aye.
Gail,
Hi.
Lorley.
Hi.
Did I miss anyone? Okay, motion passes unanimous. Derek, are you able to work with Lynn to pick those up and drop them off to me?
Sure. Lynn, what time should I come by tomorrow?
Why don't you come by 10?
Okay, good deal.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much. Really appreciate you picking those up, Derek, and Lynn, you helping him with the card and everything.
How many cards do you need?
I have enough for this batch, but I could use some after this batch.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions on our, oh, before we move on from treasurer's report, because it's kind of related, in one of our email discussions, we talked about fundraising. And I want to reach out to Sumner Neighborhood Association. I tried to email them, but the mailbox is full of the person I was told to contact. They held a waste collection event, like we talked about at the all committees meeting. So I'm still working on getting a hold of the person who organized that, but it was done through their Central Neighborhoods Coalition, or I don't remember what the acronym stands for. So if that is an interest in being a regular fundraiser without using the Metro program, I know in the past, Gail, it was rather profitable. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think it would be profitable without the Metro program?
It's all in the hauling. It's all in the bins. If we can get those, because everything else is volunteers.
So if we had a deal with like ECR, who normally does our hauling and gives
Yeah.
us a pretty good rate, okay. I'll reach out to them as well and see what we can put together. Maybe we could do something this summer. I know a lot of neighbors have emailed and asked other cleanup events. So, okay, that was my only other thing on finances, is maybe we can figure out a fundraiser there. All right, I know I'm tired of listening to me, so I'm gonna pass it along to Stephanie. Go ahead, Stephanie, on land use and transportation. And I do have, if you need to show the survey, I have that available for you.
what survey are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about the questions I sent you
Yes.
about nuisance houses?
Yeah, so I sent you back a Google form. I know I'm tardy on that, but
I haven't seen it.
all right, well then we'll talk about it
When did you send it?
today.
I see. No, I haven't seen it.
All right, go ahead.
Well, okay, so, all right, I would like to show it in a moment. So first, let me tell everyone that I have been for a long time now trying to put together a list of resources that will help people, residents here in Brentwood-Darlington who live near nuisance properties. And I'm having a very nice, skillful person in civic life helping me with this. And I owe him a new draft, which he will be looking at. He has some other obligations, but we should have something out in a month or two. Something very professional. Unfortunately, not terribly helpful in the sense that city resources are pathetic. The ability to shut down a nuisance house lies entirely with the police department, and which it has to be convinced that a property is in fact a nuisance property, and then even more that it must be shut down requires 3 internal police reports before anything meaningful happens, and the whole thing can get derailed anywhere along the way. So to shut down a nuisance property, we have to work through the police, and that problem is low on police priorities right now because they have so many other difficulties facing them right now. Nevertheless, in this document, I'm going to include a summary, an explanation of the city code so that residents understand exactly what kind of resources are available to them and do not, and so they have their expectations correctly aligned with reality. So I'm going to explain the city code, and then I will go on to provide, hold on a second, let me get it out. The following kinds of information under actions that may abate some nuisance behavior. So the first thing to do, even if one is not going to be able to get a response, is to communicate with the East Precinct Neighborhood Response Team and begin sending that team information collected about a particular property, and may just persist and make contact because in the small chance that the police will in fact come and help with the property. So we have to start with the police. And so I have phone numbers, names, email addresses that might be helpful with that. Then we urge residents to collect data, keep a log on what they observe happening at their nuisance property with times, dates, car makes, license plates, and other information. Is there a lot of trash? Are people living illegally in vehicles on the right of way outside the property? Are there people coming and going at night indicating drug trafficking? And we suggest that people get their neighbors to keep log 2 and then feed it into a main log, which then goes off to the neighborhood response team. And the neighborhood response team, and with the hope that eventually there'll be enough information to get them to move on it. And also maybe the other problems that are taking priority now will die back and allow us to work on nuisance houses. Then we suggest that neighbors, an afflicted neighbor, communicate with the property owner, and we say how to find who the property owner is through Portland Maps, which provides names and addresses. Then we urge them to connect with the neighborhood association because we can at least advocate for them. We may be able to add our voice to the neighborhood response team, communicate with city council members. We can help to collect neighborhood-wide data on nuisance properties. And we might even be able to organize residents to speak with one voice, one powerful voice to City Hall. And that brings up the questions that the survey questions that Chelsea was just referring to. But let me just finish for a moment what else is going to be in our resource list. Then we have, we urge the afflicted residents to report all illicit activity under the following headings, and we've got all the phone numbers and email addresses, and they're verified. Non-emergency crimes, illegal camping or garbage related to illegal camping, illegal dumping, code, zoning, and other violations, illegally parked vehicles, abandoned vehicles, and drug complaints or drug house activities. So at least there's a way to get unsightly vehicles hauled away, trash removed, and so on. So it sends a message to the nuisance property that they're being observed, and it abates some of the nuisance in the vicinity of the house. I'm going to have a section on should you consult an attorney, but I haven't filled that out yet. Also, maybe a section on should you seek mediation? That's questionable because the other side probably doesn't want to engage in any kind of mediation, but it doesn't hurt to bring it up. We also suggest that people fortify their own property and work with neighbors on safety as far as patrolling, setting up cameras, strengthening fences, maybe getting dogs and so on. Finally, we suggest that they contact the 3 people who work in civic life who can help them with fortifying their property and with trying to increase their safety, even though there's a nuisance house right by them. So it will be helpful in many ways, but also very realistic. It will not get people's hopes up unduly, but we'll make it clear that the neighborhood association will help in every way that we can, but given what the city code is, there just isn't a whole lot we can do. It all depends on the police department. So to go to the questions in the survey that Chelsea referenced, both Chelsea and I have the sense, and maybe you do, Derek, and others of you who are present tonight, we have the sense that there are more nuisance properties in Brentwood-Darlington lately than say 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And so to try to find out, we thought that we would put a little conduct a little survey on local social media platforms, asking people some simple questions. And do you want to show those, Chelsea?
Yeah, give me 1 second pulling it up.
Sure. Yeah. So Chelsea knows how to post these forms so that the responses feed into a collection, a data sheet, and so we can get a feel for whether we're seeing a growing problem here. And the person at Civic Life who's helping me thought that this was a great idea. So thank you for suggesting that, Chelsea. So this is what
as long as they don't throw me under the bus for this one, that's all I request.
Of course not. No, I think this is going to be very useful. We may see that there is no increase. Whatever we learn, it's going to be useful. So what you worried that somehow there might be some pushback on this, or?
The last time we put out a survey, Parks crucified us. So,
well, okay, this is not in connection with any particular city effort, and we do have the support of this person from Civic Life. So I think it'll be okay. And yes, that was ugly, and it was very unfair what happened, the way she attacked you. So no, that's not going to happen here. So anyway, the question, we asked the following questions. Oh, could you go back to the top? Yeah. Okay, so we're asking, are we seeing more nuisance properties? We're seeking data to answer this question. If you live near a nuisance property, please let us know by filling out this form. We're going to be posting this little survey questionnaire on several social media sites. So please complete it only once so we don't inflate the number of residents reporting. We will post our results after, say, 4 weeks of data collection, and thank you in advance and so on. So we ask for their email address. So why are we doing that?
The email collection ensures that there's only one response per person, so that we don't get repeated results.
Okay,
And
that makes sense.
What we can do is, as Kim notes in the chat, we can add a disclaimer that they'll be kept anonymous there.
Okay, yeah, would you please, yeah, put it right there in that questionnaire. You know, this will be a
I'll see if it will let me limit to one response without the emails. It didn't used to, but maybe that's changed, but I will try. Oh, let's see. Yeah. So will. I'll go
Okay,
figure out the settings.
I just want people to be willing to fill this out, and they might get worried that we're going to publish their email addresses. So what I just, you're totally good at this sort of thing. Just figure out something to reassure them, okay? So that they'll answer these questions. Okay, so move it down a little bit to the first question, which is, yes, I live near a nuisance property. And the following occurs on or near this property, check all that apply. So this is directly out of the city code that has a section that basically defines what a nuisance property is. And so it includes harassment, intimidation, disorderly conduct, public indecency, alcohol violations, garbage littering, criminal trespass, theft, and so on, which often happens in the vicinity of these nuisance properties, drug traffic, illegal gambling, and then a lot of noise, and then whatever else might be going on.
Would that include an abandoned house?
Yes, it's any property that's a nuisance, whether or not it's technically supposed to be lived in, if I remember correctly.
And I have other.
Well, other is just other behaviors that are being observed in the on the property. Okay, so then we asked them to let us know what actions they've tried to take, and did they report it to the police? Did they report it to other branches of the city government? Did they talk to the property owner? Did they talk to the inhabitants? Did they surveil and collect data and let in a way that let the inhabitants know that they're being observed? And did they take any other action? And then we want to know whether they got help from any direction. So that would be the next question. Have you received useful assistance from the police, the city, or I have been unable to receive useful assistance or other comment? So it's very simple. It should be very easy to answer, and it should give us some good information about what's going on in our neighborhood. And so we'll give it about 4 weeks. And Chelsea, I know you're just really busy and so on, but when might you be able to post this thing?
I will get it up by this weekend.
Oh, okay, thank you.
If you don't see it up on the neighborhood pages, bother me for it.
Okay, well, thank you so much. All right, but so of the people who are attending the meeting, is there any commentary about this survey effort or the resource list that we're preparing?
You have a question in the chat from Maria. She wants to know if the person at Civic Life working with the BDNA, they indicated what possible outcome of this data could be, and like what happens if there's the perception of increased nuisance houses or not.
We're gathering this for ourselves to know. I think it will guide us in what we as a neighborhood association might be able to do as far as advocating for help from the police. We may be able to say to City Council and to the Portland Police Bureau, look, we've got all of these nuisance houses popping up and we can't deal with this ourselves. We've got to have help. And I think it will give us just more power to advocate for some responsiveness from the city government, including the police department. So no, this person at Civic Life can't predict what the outcome is. We don't know what the outcome is. It may be that the 2 nuisance houses that we know of, whose neighbors we're trying to help, are the only 2 nuisance houses. And but that's what we want to find out. We want to find out what kind of a problem we have in our neighborhood. And I think it might be helpful if we share our questionnaire with him, because he might wish, or maybe even with Southeast Uplift, have to we'll have to think about this, but other neighborhood associations might even want to use this questionnaire. What do you think, Chelsea?
I'd say let's see how it does with us, and then we can go from there.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, so Derek, I know that you've been interested in getting this resource list. I'm sorry it's taking so long, but do you think it will be helpful to you?
Yeah, as far as when I talk to property owners, yeah, resources that are, I'm assuming, are coming from what, the county and or the city?
Yeah, mainly from the city.
Okay, yeah, that would be helpful, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's just as described, you know, it's helpful in a limited kind of a way, right?
Mhm. I
Because
think the
of
important thing is that it be current, so that
Yeah.
we're not giving them like somebody that's left the city 2 years ago. If you Google the city, I think sometimes you'll see old information on websites. So
No.
current contact info and people would be great.
Yeah, no, it's this person, Steve Witcherly at Civic Life, verified
Mhm.
also along with, and I did as well. I checked everything myself, and then he double checked it so that it's we know it's current. There's one little thing I've added concerning the neighborhood response team, and I need to check that, but it will be just as current as we can make it. So
Okay, great.
and it will, you know, it'll help people understand realistically where they are and what the problem with the city code is, which is there aren't enough resources to deal with this problem. But I think it will advance things. I think it will be it will be helpful a lot, especially along with this survey questionnaire. Okay, so then in connection with Socket Week bucket distribution. I mean, I'm going on to liability insurance now. Well, let me back up. As we've discussed at previous meetings, we've had difficulty learning from Southeast Uplift whether we have insurance coverage for various things. I mean, can we hire childcare providers? Are we covered in the use of the radar speed gun if a resident is using our gun and trips and falls or gets into trouble somehow for using the radar speed gun? And more recently, with the Socket Week bucket distribution, we were thinking of using a street where people could drive up and get their buckets, and we would set up tables and the buckets and all that in the right of way along the street. This would be right outside. This would have been right outside Learning Garden Labs. And so I said that I would arrange for the permits and started looking into it. And the very first requirement is that we have to have liability insurance that absolves the city of any responsibility for whatever might go wrong in our event. And so I asked Leah Fisher at Southeast Uplift to help us, and she spent weeks trying to get the coverage, the certificate naming the city as additional insured on the insurance policy that Southeast Uplift maintains for all 20 neighborhoods. We finally got it, and I submitted it, and PBOT said, "Oh, we already have this." And I didn't understand, but they explained, "Oh, you know, every year we get this, every July when your insurance is renewed, we get a copy. So, you know, if you need to do anything on the streets, you're already covered. You can just, all you need to do is proceed with your permit application." And so this was big news to us because Leah Fisher didn't know, I didn't know, the insurance company didn't know, only PBOT did. So everybody, if we want to have any street events, if we want to close some intersections and paint them or whatever, we are in good shape. But it was just very shocking to find, it was a lot of work involved to find out that we didn't have to go to all that work. And so in any case, it would be nice to know whether we're covered for some of these other things like childcare and use of the radar speed gun and so on. So I'm hoping
We've been told explicitly we're not covered for childcare and that they won't do it because of the extra cost for the riders that are required.
I see. And how much do those riders cost, or do we know?
I don't believe she gave us the cost, but you have to have a special child abuse rider waiver, something added on that's cost prohibitive apparently for Southeast Uplift to provide it. So we can't have childcare because they can't afford it.
Okay, well, I feel that going forward, as we look again at the way the neighborhood association system is structured, maybe we need to take out these middlemen, these coalitions, and we should get the money, right? We can do a lot with that money, and they don't help us anyway. So anyway, just a little thought, just a complaint, because this is, I feel that we are hampered in our ability to get things done or even started by the way just something that like insurance is structured now. All right.
Can I ask a question before we go on?
Kimberly Deleo that talked about something that Commissioner Hardesty said about insurance. Kim, am I correct on that?
Yes, she and then I attended the Southeast Uplift training, and then Leah repeated it, that they were actively working on figuring out the insurance. So it's interesting to see. I'm thankful that it sounds like it's figured out, but they did actually mention that in the Lentz meeting and then again in the Southeast Uplift training.
Well, only one small part is figured out, which is doing something in the street.
Okay.
The radar, speed gun, and childcare, and whatever else we would want to do, we just don't even know.
Right. And Commissioner Hardesty made it a point to say that she was aware and that they were actively working on it.
Oh, great. Then that must be that other neighborhoods associations have been complaining as well. Then that we're paying money for these insurance policies, but we don't know what good they provide, but they must be really helping insurance companies. So
well, and if one coalition can't provide it, it doesn't just affect us. That means that every neighborhood association covered by Southeast Uplift, which is something like 24 neighborhood associations, can't have childcare. So that's 24 neighborhood associations who aren't able to accommodate people at a level they need.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect example, right? Okay, well, all right, enough complaining about that. Well, I'm glad to know that this is being worked on. And I want to go on now to the possibility of an agreement between BDNA and Impact Northwest. And I sent you all a rough draft. And then after sending you this rough draft, I talked with Andy Nelson, who's the executive director of Impact Northwest. And he wanted something included in the agreement that's very major and that I hadn't understood previously. It's not bad, but it's just major. So I just want to say first that Andy Nelson is very eager to have the Brentwood-Darlington Community Center become a community center for our neighborhood. It's been kind of a hidden secret, right? Used by Impact Northwest, and a few people know that they can rent space there for a birthday party or to meet, to play cards or whatever. But I don't think that many residents know about the community center, or that they can rent space there. But certainly it's not treated as something that is available to the community and that we can use it for events in the way that, say, Mount Scott Community Center is known about. So he wants to take the mystery out of it, as he calls it, and open it up to the neighborhood, and who would very much like to work with us. So that's wonderful. And you saw the rough draft I sent, that we would continue to have the same privileges that we have now, which is we have access to the building, we have a key. We can reserve space for meetings and events without paying a fee. We have some storage space. We can use the tables and chairs and the furnishings that belong to the building, and we can use the kitchen and its appliances. So that's all lovely. Then,
Stephanie, to that, we should add a key and alarm code because those things need to be together.
hold on a second. Okay.
And then I have a question for you to pose to Andy of if he wants this to be a part of the community and really running like a community center, are they prepared to invest the staff to do that? Because one overworked building manager who is also in charge of the maintenance for that and several other buildings and one part-time secretary are not going to cut it.
Well, I think that we need to step up and
We can't step up with a all volunteer force. They need to actually put some money into staffing that building, at least more than part-time.
I don't think that we can present that idea to them in those
We just need
words.
to make them aware of it, that we can't take on the burden for staffing their building. And we can advertise it, we can work on cleanups, we can keep up our end of the bargain and all of that. But unless they have somebody actually coordinating programs in the building to attract the community, it's not going to happen. So he just needs to be aware of that he can't count on a 7-member board to be his building staff.
Well, I don't think that he did, and I don't want to get into, it sounds very confrontational to me, and
I'm sure you can word it nicer, but
I'm not going to word it at all for a while.
Have adequate staff.
Okay. I would like to finish my presentation because it bears what you're saying. Okay, so in the draft that I sent, I suggest that we have these responsibilities, that we continue to exercise strict controls over use of the key and strict adherence to lockup procedures. I suggested that we have an annual grounds cleanup, which I thought we could turn into a community event with music, food, fun, kids. It's a great place for kids to play while adults rake and pull weeds and so on. And I thought it would be a lovely way to help people know about the community center and feel that they're investing in it with a few hours of work to make it look nice, every spring.
We could also, Stephanie, maybe address any kind of deferred maintenance, not big projects, but maybe minor projects like peeling paint somewhere on the outside or.
Possibly, yeah. Let me go through that.
Go ahead. Gail has a question when you're ready, Stephanie.
Yeah, before we make any more comments, because I need to get to the big picture here, which was not included in the draft I sent you. Okay, so in 2017, we refurbished the floors throughout the building, and that might be something that we could continue to do. As I recall, it wasn't that expensive. I think we spent $700, but we may have split the cost.
Of 5 or 6, I think.
Okay, and was that the complete cost, or did we split it with him?
We did not split it. It was, I want to say it was like $560 or almost $600. It wasn't. It was right around between $500 and $600.
Oh, okay, thank you. So, that's something that we can afford. And then, as we do now, after every use of the building, we always clean up. We put everything away and clean up the kitchen and so on. So we would always continue to do that. Now, what Andy brought up to me was that the following: Impact Northwest has the use of the building without paying rent to Multnomah County, which owns the building, but Impact Northwest is responsible for maintaining all the insurance that is required for such a building and for keeping the building well maintained. So he's been looking at the roof and he sees that this roof has reached its lifetime limit now and is going to need to be replaced pretty soon. And then he would like to rehab the kitchen and update it and update the appliances and so on. And so he was asking us if we can work with Impact Northwest to help bring about resources that would help with building maintenance. And so Pam Hodge had a very excellent idea, which is that with the TGM planning that's going on now, we should advocate that the city provide an investment in our community center and in the Woodstock one and Mount Scott Arleta community centers, and maybe even you add another node, I don't know, the Moose Lodge, so that we have a series of community centers well maintained and welcoming throughout our neighborhood. So the idea with TGM is that it will result in a plan for investment in our area in 4 neighborhoods and will be adopted by the city council sometime in 2022. And then as funding becomes available, it would be funneled into the various approved recommendations. So I thought that this was something that we could offer to Impact Northwest, that we will advocate for maintenance of or for funding to help maintain our community center and the others as well. I think that could be an important source of funding if we really stick with it and really push Marty and Brian Poole and Zeph and the others on this subject, that we could get included in this plan. And then that would be a permanent resource going forward. So as a land use chair, I'm willing to work on that with the project managers and with the whole TGM process. But I want to know whether this approach is supported by you. I mean, this is something we would be taking to Impact Northwest and saying, we're a very small volunteer organization, but this is what we can do. And he didn't set a dollar amount. He didn't say, I expect you to come up with the money. He wanted us to work with them. And so, we can also endorse efforts that Impact Northwest makes to bring in funding. And we can get other endorsers like the Rose CDC to support his efforts. I mean, Impact Northwest is a pretty powerful organization, but I'm thinking that our offer to work the TGM angle would be well received by Impact Northwest.
Stephanie, Laura has a question.
Okay, Laura, what is it?
Sorry, I don't know how to raise my hand on my laptop. I'm going back to the community center and having it be more accessible to our actual community residents. I have actually not been to the community center. What does that look like in terms of what insurance that is available? Like, are we allowed to have drop-in, like the Mommy and Me drop-in sessions? I mean, how is the community center going to feel more like our community center to our residents? We can fix it up and stuff like that, but actually getting people in the building, is that covered by our current insurance to be able to hold events inside?
I think that we're covered by Impact Northwest's insurance. I can verify that, and then maybe, I don't know whether we need to do with Impact Northwest what we do with PBOT, which is to add them as additional insured on our insurance. That's something we should explore. So I can't entirely answer your question, but right now we have had events there, Laura Lee, like National Night Out, where we are, or a Halloween party where people just pour in from everywhere, and there's music and food and dancing, and it's very convivial, and there isn't a problem with pouring in and having a good time. So
to clarify, our insurance is separate from that of the community center, just so that you know that our ability to hold have childcare is based on our insurance with Southeast Uplift, and the insurance that Stephanie mentioned about the community center is their own that they maintain. So, and then Stephanie, you have questions from Gail and Kim Hill.
Okay, Gail, what's your question?
Well, we used to have Daddy and Me drop-ins. Friday nights is what I kind of remember. I don't know if they're still there, but that type of thing has been at the community center.
Well, and I suggested, I asked Andy, yeah, I mean, could we have, say, you know, every Wednesday morning is drop-in time at the community center for people to come in and bring their coffee with them or have coffee there, and just be a place where people from the neighborhood run into one another where they don't elsewhere. There isn't any other place. And he thought that the room with the fireplace would be perfect for that. So he's very open to that. But then in speaking to people, I realized some want a separate kind of drop-in for parents with little kids, which is fine. I mean, we could have both of those. We would have a responsibility for cleaning up afterwards. That's it, that's all. But yes, we would be able to have drop-ins if that's the basic question, yes.
Okay, you have questions from Kim Hill, Maria, and then Kim Deleo.
Okay, Kim Hill, what's your question?
As you go forward with the planning for implementing this project, will there be a survey of neighbors? I'm not sure how this is conducted. This is just a really informal question of what they want or could envision happening with the center.
I don't know, maybe. I'll put it down as a possibility. But,
that would be something good for Impact Northwest to conduct so they know how to adjust their programming.
Well, I think it's going to just continue with the childhood education program and no other programming. What programming are you thinking of?
Well, of all of these things, if BDNA is volunteering to do this every week, we're going to be short of volunteers really fast. So if they want it to be more of a community center, they're going to need to add some programming.
What do you mean by programming?
These drop-ins that neighbors want, and offering more events and things like that. We can't have drop-in coffee every week unless somebody is willing to volunteer to do it, unless they are having a staff program.
Well, we might not be able to do that. I mean, if we cannot be partners in this, we may not be able to accomplish the things that we want, that we are suggesting.
You have questions for Maria and Kim Deleo.
Okay, Maria, hi.
Hi, Stephanie. I am so excited to hear about the news from the community center. And maybe one of the things that you and I are more aware of than other members from the board is that we have been thinking for a long time now about how can we create a space, a physical space where community can happen, where residents can meet, where things can, I don't know, develop without having this very clearly, like this is the program, this is a drop-in or something. So I don't know if you remember, we talked about, well, could we maybe even buy some kind of property when something popped up on 52nd and Flavel and all that. And in the end, we came back to, oh my gosh, we have this amazing community center with all its amenities and it is in our neighborhood and all that. So this is kind of, I feel like the leap where we, that we took to get to where we are. And I'm very excited that Impact Northwest is willing to work with us to make it a community center. I don't think they are the ones wanting that to be a community center. I feel like it is us wanting it to be a community center again, and they are working with us on that. That's at least how I perceive that.
That's how I perceive it too. And I think it gives us a wonderful opportunity to reach out to the neighborhood and ask people, if these uses of the community center are possibilities, but we need people to
Of course.
Be able to be responsible for cleaning
Yes.
up or
And
whatever it is. And it may be a wonderful lever for us to pump life into our neighborhood association.
I completely agree. And I think it probably is easier to start with like a single pop-up events to say so, like, we just now had Memorial Day. We could have had a barbecue together there for, or I don't know, something, where you don't commit to a weekly volunteer is there. The hours need to be available. Are people showing up or not? So it could start out with some more informal with pop-up events like that are easier to organize, I think, and to find volunteers. I'm certainly one of the volunteers. I'm not one of the 7 on the board, but I would volunteer for, making this community center something for the community again. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and I'm very excited to hear about the news, and count me in for volunteering to make this happen.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Yeah, no, I think it's very promising. I think it makes sense to just focus on single events, and we've had very successful events, especially if they've been organized by Chelsea, who's a consummate organizer, and we've had very successful events. So we could just, if we do not have the manpower to hold, weekly drop-ins, then at least at this time, then we start off slow and build.
You
Okay.
have questions from Kim Deleo and Lynn, and then Gail.
Okay, Kim Deleo.
I'll try to make it quick.
That's okay.
Just curious, does the Impact Northwest, do they have insurance for children? So for example, if someone wanted to do, like a Lego club every Tuesday with, elementary or middle school children, and, they were volunteering to do this, would that be something that could be done at that community center?
Well, I know the Boy Scouts meet there, so.
Okay, good.
And that would probably fall under a community event rather than providing childcare at a community
Good.
event.
Okay. I like the idea of supporting them, but I also agree with Chelsea that, maybe they can provide some staff to make it.
I would love for them to just have a full-time anything for that building.
Right.
That's just something basic.
Yeah.
Stephanie, Lynn, and then Gail.
Hey, Lynn.
Okay, I think I'm also, I'm a little confused with what the vision is from Andy, and what, are they going back to the, kind of the point that Chelsea made? Are they wanting to provide classes for the community? And are they going to, can you go sign up for the Daddy and Me classes? And
there's no vision. It was his comment to me a few months ago that he's new to Impact Northwest, been there for 2 years. He sees the community center as a mystery, as he calls it. It's a mystery to the community. He would like to see it be used and become known, but no specific plan at all. And I think that we can work with him on opening it up. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for us, but no, it's not as though Impact Northwest is, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and we want money from you. It's much more of, we want to work with you to make it more of a community center without specifying a plan, because I don't think he had a specific idea. He just sees it as kind of a closed off place that hardly anybody knows about, and he doesn't like that. And
yeah, but if Impact Northwest is the one that manages it, why is it closed? Why do they have it closed? Why haven't they opened it up? Why haven't
I think he's a new breath of air on the management scene. And I think the previous executive directors haven't wanted to, but he does.
Is it something that maybe we advocate for them to, like, hey, if you guys, put classes in, put people in, then we can advocate in the community. We
But-
can.
Yeah, but why should they, why should they do that though? I mean, they use the building for their childhood education program, and they rent space as a form of income. So they're not in the business of providing classes for the community.
Okay.
Which is entirely why it's a mystery to the community. It's basically a
Right.
closed building that's not inviting.
Well,
But why should they have? I mean, it's the building is, we don't own the building. We don't have any, I think we're very fortunate to have the privileges that that we enjoy, and we've had some wonderful community events there. He's simply asking us to have a partnership with Impact Northwest, which I think opens a door for us that wasn't there before. When from the history we've recreated, it looked as though the nonprofit formed to construct the building, got loans from the county that it couldn't pay back. And so the ownership of the building went to the county. The nonprofit that couldn't repay the loans included the BDNA. That nonprofit asked Northwest Impact to run the building so that there would be somebody there to run the building. And so they've operated the building all these years, and we have had these privileges that are residual to some long ago agreement and to our participation in the original construction, but nobody owes us anything. We're really lucky.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying that anybody owes us anything, but to me, the way I see it is that, and I thought that they would rent the space out. So if somebody wants to have an event, or at least pre-COVID, you could rent the space. They don't have the expense of a mortgage. So they have, to me, it seems like that there's a little bit of a benefit there. So that was all. And, and back to the point of, we're a small board. I personally don't really have the time to go there and kind of volunteer every week and I just don't. So that was, I wanted to be clear on what the agreement was and what they expect of us.
I think we're very much in the beginning stages of creating a vision, a partnership together. And,
okay.
and I welcome his openness to wanting us as partners. And he has zero problem with our continuing to have the privileges that we have. I think we have a big opportunity to leverage the community center as a community building kind of thing where we can get people really interested and enthusiastic about the building, but then we need to have responsibility too to help maintain and make sure that it lasts and so on, if we're going to be using it, if the community at large is going to be using it. Impact Northwest didn't agree to manage the building as a community center. It agreed to manage the building as a place where it could carry out its early childhood education program. And then I know there were other uses there, but that was the primary thing. Would you please be a presence in the building and keep it maintained and insured? Because we can't afford to pay back the loans. So they've been working in the building or managing it without a written agreement with the county, which boggles my mind. It just seems like there are mysteries everywhere. I've asked for a copy of the deed to the building and then a copy of the lease that governs Multnomah County's lease of the property from Portland Public Schools. And then I've asked Andy if he and Multnomah County create a written agreement, you know, we certainly want a copy of that. And but I think we're just at the very big, I'm not going to rush off, you know, with this, with after tonight and say, okay, this is our agreement. This is at the very beginning of talking. And I love it that you're raising the kinds of questions, all of you, you're raising great questions. It's exactly the kind of conversation we should be having. So it's very, very exciting and promising. But I want to have a very positive relationship with them. You know, if they're able to, they're interested in renting out some of the space permanently, and that's going to give them more income. So then maybe they can have a permanent building manager present or something. That's something we can talk about and see, you know, what the goal is there.
Gail still has a question.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole volunteer thing. Do you think, if it was possible, that if we wanted to invite the community the first Thursday of the month, hypothetically speaking, about 6:30 for coffee and muffins, and then we'll have a meeting at 7 if you want to stay? I mean, is that something we want to consider? Social time?
What kind of a meeting? What do you mean?
Our meeting, when we, hypothetically speaking, when we get back to meeting inside the building, do we want to have a social time at 6:30? I mean, we're going to be there anyway.
Oh, it's 6:30 in the evening.
Yeah. No.
If you all remember way back in the before times, the building was open that early, and I did have coffee and things set up, and many people would come early, and we doors opened at 6:30 to allow for socialization. So we could easily turn that into community event. So,
and then too, when you said roof, and my first thought was, oh, can we do a solar study for solar power?
Oh, to put solar on the roof?
Yeah.
Well, that's a possibility, especially there are some, you know, there's some good subsidies out there right now.
Yeah.
And it might be possible to do that. And yeah, one of the things that I would like to see happen, and this is something that a fundraising event could aim at, would be to, you know, if we can eliminate dependence on natural gas in the building, that not only eliminates a greenhouse gas, but also improves indoor air quality. And if we had solar on the roof, and a house battery like the Tesla wall, we could keep that charged, and then in the winter, and that can keep a building going for a week, then people can come in and get heated up and charge their phones and so on. But then we have a climate friendly building going.
Yay!
I think that's a great idea to aim for. Let's ask them to do basic maintenance on the building before we get to being clean and green.
Of course.
The paint is
absolutely.
peeling so badly. And that's, I really, really hope he's planning to invest a little bit more in maintenance staff, because Russell cannot keep up with it on his own.
No.
And it's beyond what a volunteer force can do, even recruiting from the community. They need to.
We're not volunteering to maintain the building. We're volunteering to work on the TGM process to bring in money at regular intervals in the future that will keep the building maintained, because that's all we can do. And I'm suggesting we do an annual grounds cleanup, because that's something that could be fun. A one morning thing where we rake and pull weeds and haul away branches and whatever, and have something to eat and music playing and so on, and refurbish the floors, but no more than that. We can't. I'm not recommending that we paint the building, or, you know, rehab the kitchen or put on a new roof. What we can do is try to leverage funding through the TGM. There isn't anything else we can do, right? We're too little. We're too volunteer.
And I'm not suggesting you're saying that. I'm suggesting that we gently encourage them to maintain the building at a higher level than they are now, so that when we do have our cleanup events, they make a difference. And we can move towards things like helping find a grant subsidy to transfer from natural gas off of it.
So, Andy is relatively new and he's right on it. I mean, he's very concerned about the state of the building, and apparently his predecessors were not. So
no, and he's new enough that he doesn't know that they already lost a staffer there. They've already gone down staff there to be at that low level of staff prior to him starting. The person before Russell retired, and rather than hire for her position, they just split it with another position. And now Russell maintains 2 buildings instead of 1.
I don't know what he knows or doesn't know, or what exactly his plans are for renting out the space in the building. He's very interested in having some permanent tenants so that there's some money coming in. And if there are tenants, then they're going to need to have some more staff there, I'm sure, to meet the needs of their tenants. So I can find out, but I want to absolutely avoid any kind of confrontational thing with this promising situation here. I can tell him, what we can do, and that's all we can do. And but I'm willing to invest my time advocating through the TGM process and attending every meeting that's required to try to get the community center made part of that final plan. I think that's a big offer.
You don't have any pushback on that from anybody. Everybody's on board with that.
Okay.
What we're not on board with is accidentally becoming the staff for the community center because we didn't understand what we were agreeing to.
Right. No. I think that we're a long way from having, weekly drop-ins, and but we'll have to, have, maybe one of the things that should be built into the agreement is quarterly discussions about needs on both sides, and new arrangements that we should. So I think I think that we should build in some flexibility through frequent conversations.
All right, anything else on the community center before we move on to the next thing?
Okay. I'm exhausted now, but I think it's a huge opportunity for us, and I do appreciate all of these questions. They're going to help make our drafts of the agreement better and better as they go forward. But we're not going to call anything final until the whole board is happy with it. So don't worry, I'm not rushing us into anything that we can't support or accommodate. Okay, so let me go on to the next subject, the residential infill project. This is something that's going to affect us, but beginning August 1st. Let me just read what the city has written. Changes are coming that will allow more types of housing in Portland's neighborhoods. In other words, Portland has eliminated zoning for single family houses. You can still build a single house on a lot if you want to, but you are able as a developer or homeowner to build multiple units. But in the past that was illegal. Now it's one or more, and limited only by the size of the parcels. So this breaks this. I think Portland is just about the first city in the United States to break down this barrier, which has been responsible for a lot of racial discrimination through redlining. Is very welcome, but we're going to see the effects here because we will be seeing multiple buildings coming up on single parcels. But as I've said in previous presentations, we're already seeing that because developers are simply splitting parcels and then building a single building on each one. So we may not ourselves see much difference. You know, the rate of development here in Brentwood-Darlington is breakneck. I mean, it's very fast moving. And so I'm not sure now that the residential infill project is going to make that much of a difference. But anyway, the residential infill project will take effect August 1st, and it will allow additional accessory dwelling units, duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. The size of all structures will be limited in new ways to help additions and new buildings better fit in. So I will, at the July meeting, I'll do an in-depth presentation on the residential infill so that we understand better what it's all about. And I'm going to be attending a workshop. But I think I know that staff predicted that there would be a huge jump in development in our area in Montevilla and a couple of other neighborhoods in Portland as a result of the residential infill. But given how much development we see already here, and then given lumber prices right now, we may actually see a slowing, at least to begin with. It's going to be interesting. We'll track it as well as we can. And again, I'll make a better presentation in July. Just wanted to give you heads up that it's on its way. So are there any questions before I move on, or about the residential infill project, which I provided almost no information about?
Have you seen 70th and Duke?
Oh, I have. Oh my goodness. It's like a whole village going up there, right? And they didn't.
The original plan, but it's still tiny. Tiny little houses.
No, I know, but they were able to split up the lot and then build using current pre-residential infill project rules, and they're still getting the same result. That's why I'm saying I don't know that we'll see much difference. You know? That since all that lot splitting was so easy to do.
And I always wonder, Stephanie, when I see a lot of density, you know, did they actually split lots or did they do a condo development? Because in a condo development, they don't have to split anything. It's one big parcel, and then the freestanding homes are essentially condos.
Yeah. You know, as I've been looking through the permits over the past year, I haven't seen much in the way of requests for condos. Outside Brentwood-Darlington, I see condos coming up, but not inside.
Well, I think when I think of condo, I think of some of the, like what's across from the playground at the Brentwood-Darlington Park. They're actually freestanding homes, but when I go and talk to the realtor.
Derek, those are attached in 2, 4, and 6 combinations.
Okay.
And they were originally built as townhouses and they were converted to condos.
Right.
Those specific ones I just know because I actually lived in one of those. So they're actually attached.
You mean across from the playground? These are the newer ones.
At Woodmere?
No, these are
the playground in Brentwood-Darlington.
The new ones at Brentwood-Darlington, yeah, those are detached condos. But the style that's across from the Woodmere playground, those are townhouses converted to condos.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I'm just thinking about that one block. If you think of, I have to get my streets right, like 62nd, Cooper, Duke, and 63rd. There's like there's like a different, like Cooper, there's something there. And then on the two 63rd and 62nd, I found out that they're kind of like, they have ADUs in the back.
Right. Oh yeah.
And I thought, and they've got a pathway down the 2 houses in front. And then of course there's 2 other houses behind it. But then I found out, they can do that because it's been condoed. So everybody owns the land collectively. And I guess they can do setbacks and everything else different too. But then coming in with August 1st with these new rules, you know, it'll be quite interesting because I've been talking to different people and they said, well, the city hasn't really formally announced what they're doing. And so we're all kind of waiting, you know, just for this to be disclosed. So,
right. Okay,
the
well,
details.
I'll
Yeah.
try to provide more, I'll try to provide some helpful information in July.
Great,
And
thank you.
the projects that you're talking about on 62nd there, you know, I think those permits were pulled before I started working on land use. I'm not familiar with the terminology. I don't know whether they're ever called condos. I think the ones with the ADUs behind them, I don't think those are just single dwelling units with an ADU behind them. That looks like another single dwelling unit. They're so huge.
Right, right. And when I say condo, I guess it's just a sense that you don't own the land directly under your property, right? And I can do a little more research into that. Maybe condo, you know, they have HOAs, the houses are freestanding, but I guess for when they own the land collectively, you can put things closer together. I mean, that's the win for the developers.
Oh,
You
well,
know,
if you learn more about that, would you share that with me? Because
yeah,
I
I'd be
have
hap-
a lot to learn.
Okay,
in this
I want
area.
to just do a time check, everyone. We're at 8:40. So
Okay.
we'll, if we want to be able to get through the rest of our business, we're going to need to go no more than 10 more minutes on land use.
Okay.
Okay, just let me go really quickly because I want Derek to talk about house sales quickly.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
just very fast, there's more ongoing vandalism in Hazeltine Park. Parks and Rec funding will become available July 1st. So maybe we will see more and better maintenance in some of our parks, like I'm hoping Hazeltine, where there are starting to be homeless camps and so on. Finally, real fast, 60th Avenue, we're seeing speed bumps removed, but they're going to be replaced with new speed bumps.
Where are they being removed along 60th? The whole thing?
I think it's just between, I can't remember. It's a short area. It might be between Flavel and Harney or something like that. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And I don't know, it was some long-standing project having to do that fixing our streets cooked up a long time ago, and I just found out about it by accident, and so it was a big surprise to me as well. I didn't know. Okay, I'm done. Derek, can you tell us about house sales?
Sure.
And Derek,
Okay.
I have all the files uploaded, but I do have your 2 photos, this month's and last, to compare here on the slides. And then if you want to reference all of the PDFs of numbers, I can pull those up and share them as well.
Sure. The one we're looking at now, I mapped these, the yellow boxes you see throughout our neighborhood. Those are sale pendings. And so I just wanted to give you an idea how they're scattered throughout the neighborhood. You can't read the prices. I think that was last time, but you'll see those are all active listings, right?
So yeah, these are all active from last month for comparison.
Right. Yeah. And then of course,
here's this
the other ones with different colors, that was the bumpable offer. Remember on the other slide? Yeah. So these are all sale pendings. And I thought, are you able to pull up the stats I sent you for sale pendings? Chance? If I get really good, maybe I'll just start sharing my screen. if I get really with it. Okay, is there a way to scroll to the bottom or on that one? Oh, there you go. Okay, so yeah, those are our sale pendings. And at the bottom, there we go. And you'll see the days on the market is like the average is 10, the days on the market.
Wow.
CDOM is cumulative days, but it's the same. Median is 5. So like some of my listings, I'm like the last one I had in Woodstock on 46 between Raymond and Long, just north of us. I put it on a Wednesday night just to give everybody a head start to go see it. We're supposed to review offers Monday night at 6. And then agents send offers in. If you're curious, as I get offers, I don't sit on anything. I just forward it on to my seller. And it's always up to my seller if they want to wait till the offer review date or respond to something sooner. And so I had somebody say, well, is there any way to get you guys to do something sooner? And I told them, well, just, make it worth my seller's while. It's up to my seller, not me. And so he did. And so we ended up going under contract by Monday night. And in most cases, most of my sellers would typically wait. In the 2+ years I worked for Redfin, I was a listing agent, and it only happened twice where someone would take something before the offer review date. But in this market, people are aggressive, which is not a bad thing if you're a seller. And, but that's the market we have. And of course, that's Woodstock, for example, but you'll see things are selling pretty quickly here. And I think these.
So your active listings here, Derek, if you want to.
Right in the neighborhood. So you'll see things are on the market a lot longer. 44 days on average, median is 20, which tells me there's a bunch that are skewing the average up, right? And so most likely, if things aren't priced correctly, that's the number one reason things stay on the market longer than the other properties. They're basically based on, if people are looking at price, condition, location, they just, there's properties that are more attractive to buyers as a group than those. So they'll stay on the market longer and until they have maybe a new price or price adjustment downward. The other thing that prevents properties from selling as quickly as others is availability to be shown. So if you have renters or even a seller that's sick or something going on where buyers can't go into a house, that's number two. But number one is typically pricing. Which is very important. We are in a hot market, but you can't, if you just get a little ahead of the market, you'll just sit there. And if you're a rehab fixer property, like another one I have on 51st, I thought I priced it correctly. We did 2 price reductions. It's currently under contract, but I did, as I talked to more contractors, saying, well, why can't you pay this price on this wonderful fixer 1-bedroom, 1-bath home? And then I learned quickly, lumber had gone up 400% over the last 12 months. And I knew things were going up, but I didn't know to that degree. And of course, that's framing lumber, so not just plywood. So if you're remodeling ostensibly a home, that's a big ticket item. And a lot of people, even remodeling or building decks, have had to scale back what they're doing or just put it off due to cost. So, but
very interesting. Yeah, Derek, every time I see a house that says the price is reduced, I think of you telling us that it's been overpriced.
Well, it's easy to do that because then I'll have sellers that kind of, they'll come back at me and say, hey, I give share with sellers like view count reports out of RMLS. You can see other statistics from Zillow or Redfin, but when it comes from RMLS, it's where all the data comes from. So Zillow, Redfin, others, Trulia, they're getting an IDX feed from RMLS. So I can go in there and see how many realtors have downloaded my documents or emailed the property's details to their clients from the RMLS system. I can also see how many have viewed the property in detail, and that's realtors. And that's a good idea because buyers will look at everything all day long, but it's the realtors because we're not paid by the hour. So when we're busy working, there has to be a purpose. Otherwise we can't support ourselves. And so when you're seeing somebody look at a property in detail, 100+ realtors, that's a good thing. That's effective marketing. But at the end of the day, it has to compare well with whatever else is on the market. Another thing I wanted to share was I took a continuing ed class with a title company. And there was a gentleman there who'd been an IT person with RMLS for 5 years before he joined the title company. He told me they're looking back 12 months and 24 months. And they were told, basically, to summarize the market, he said, our inventory is pretty much the same as it was last year and the year before. But why it seems like we don't have a lot of inventory is the demand has ballooned. So the actual inventory of properties available to buyers, it hasn't changed. It's the number of buyers that are out in the market right now.
Well, so Derek, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sure. So I thought that was an interesting perspective because I always thought, oh, maybe not enough people are selling their houses because they can't find something to buy, right? So they're just kind of staying put, or they've been priced out of the market. They couldn't buy their own a house in today's market, which I think is true for a lot of people. And anyway, you had a question, Stephanie?
Well, I was just wondering if if we gave you the phone numbers of the owners of these nuisance houses, maybe you could call them and suggest selling.
Well, you can email me, and also, Stephanie, I have a script where I talk to people, especially sometimes people out of state, and I talk to them at length. It's like, and just kind of find out what they're planning to do. You know, sometimes I get listings, and I always create a list of buyers. Like if it's a duplex or fourplex, I figure the person that's going to buy it is someone that has another duplex in the area. Right? It makes sense as far as logistics and cost savings, and as an investor. But then sometimes, you know, I find out I'm talking to them and I realize, oh, these people are more likely to sell than buy some property I might list. And so then we talk about how I might be able to help them. But also, a lot of these people are trying to avoid capital gains taxes, so that if they do sell something, they have to be able to shelter that money with like in a 1031 exchange. Because if they touch it, if it hits their bank account, they got to pay taxes. So for investors, unless they're ready to cash out and distribute the money to grandkids, they typically want to roll that money from investment property into another investment property. And in this case, a lot of people are trying to get out of the city of Portland, maybe find better markets as far as investors are concerned. We're kind of priced up there. And there's still a lot of people rolling into town that want to buy stuff. But for a lot of people, things have to pencil out as far as mortgage cost and rents. And, you know, they just can't, you know, it has to make sense. But there's different types of buyers out there. You might have a developer that might look at that property like, I don't need to rent that property. I'm going to knock it down and build something even bigger. And I'm going to have a bigger cash flow. So I can pay more money for that property than somebody else who would try to turn that house or duplex into a rental property.
Right. Well, you know that nuisance property at the corner of Cooper and 62nd, it's right across from the park. And it's, you know, that street is just up and coming with new, with houses that have been renovated or new housing and so on. The owner of that property might be surprised to learn how much she could get for it. But I would hate to impose on you to do that. But
well, that's what I do. I mean, I'm happy to do that. And
really,
just to share with everybody, I have 2 email addresses. They both start off Covey7US, but Covey7US at yahoo.com is my personal email for like neighborhood stuff and family and everything else and friends. My work email address is Covey7US@gmail.com. So if you see my email addresses, there's 2 of them floating around. But if you have something real estate related, feel free to, or you think I should call somebody, I'm happy to do it.
Even if you know, I mean, I'll tell you that it's a nuisance house.
Well,
I mean, that property is so well located, and it's actually
So I'm going to pause this because I think the 2 of you can have this conversation, and we only have like 7 minutes.
Okay. Fine. Sorry.
I want to make sure we get any other board business done, including voting on the minutes, because we have quorum.
Okay.
So if you
have
more real estate land use committee. Yes, Stephanie, before we switch topics.
What about the chair of the land use committee? Is that person supposed to be?
If I remember correctly from our bylaws, we appoint somebody, and so you remain appointed.
Oh, okay.
And we already decided as a board to appoint Kim Deleo for Southeast Uplift. So officially, congratulations, Kim and Stephanie, on your appointments.
Okay, all right.
You were doing. So thank you to both of you. Appreciate it. Laura Lee, are you ready to bring minutes to us this month?
I was about to type, oh my gosh, I'm not ready.
Fantastic. We will approve minutes next month with.
Okay, I will be ready. I have 4 months worth of minutes to have approved. Stephanie was so wonderful, and she made adjustments to the last email that I sent out, and I have made those changes, but I would love it if we could do all of them during the next board meeting.
You got it.
And so we'll see the minutes like right like the afternoon before the meeting so we
I
could
know.
read them? Or
I'm going to send them out to you guys ahead of time. Like I said,
Okay.
I just finished doing Stephanie's corrections. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for reading my minutes so carefully. I didn't get a chance to send those out to you guys before this meeting, and I didn't want to do it like 5 minutes before the meeting. So I promise I'll get all 4 months out to you guys in the next week or two to review before our next board meeting.
Okay, thanks a lot, Laura Lee. You're doing
Excellent.
this thankless job. It's just awful. I know, because I did it for a year.
Yes, we really appreciate Laura Lee, our secretary, and Lynn, our treasurer, for doing those jobs that aren't necessarily the fun ones to do on the board, but keep us running. It is really important. Reminder, oh, Gail, go ahead.
Are we gonna be meeting live together anytime soon?
How do we feel about that, board? How many are vaccinated and interested in meeting up at some point?
I can bring my card.
Let's
Masks are okay. I don't mind wearing masks.
let's tentatively plan to do at least one meeting or get together in person outside at the community center over the summer. Is that
Okay.
reasonable?
Sure.
We can look at July, and maybe in July we want to have our meeting outside.
How about Cartlandia?
We could do that. We could also just set up in the outside of the community center there. There's
Okay.
a little fenced area and things
Where the tables are. Okay.
So yeah, let's think about it. That would be really fun. We could have an outdoor meeting. We have a sound system, so we could pass a mic around if we need to. And all right, I'm up for that this summer. All committees meeting is Tuesday, June 15th. And Stephanie, is there a land use meeting this month?
Yes.
Okay, so land use will be June 10th. So reminder to go to those meetings if you want to participate there. And I believe that's all we have, unless anyone has anything else.
No, I don't. And I'll just let me say that I will talk to Andy Nelson, in view of the things that we've discussed tonight, and then get back to you. And over the months ahead, we'll work out something little by little that both all of us are happy with.
Awesome. All right, well, let's go ahead and be wild and close our meeting 2 minutes early. Thanks everyone for being here. Congratulations to our new board members. Thank you, officers, for continuing on, and we will see everyone next month at our July 1st meeting.
Awesome.
Have a
Okay,
good night.
great. Thank you, everybody.